This is McCook's Mr. Bill. It's an honor to have you here. Kind of a sad week for me, in so much as I have to quit working at the bakery. The dough man in the middle of the night. See, I was there for 25 years. Oh, I had other jobs, no question. There, before, and during, I would still grab extra jobs when I could, so that I could run Mr. Bill for free. With that in mind, though, the tinnitus has always been a part of my life since '81, ringing year. But it wasn't bad till '01. '01 it got terrible between a heat stroke and I was doing some grinding, and I had earmuffs on, but I took them off before the grinder completely shut off, and that whine just, man, it made it skyrocket, and it was terrible. And I've lived with it on and off, but it's been getting worse. I said worse. And with the walk-in freezers and the different freezers and noises in there and press machines, even with earmuffs, it isn't enough anymore. And so rather than to produce less than a decent product or to push myself so far that I'm basically a vegetable, I'm going to shut that part of my life off. 25 years I've been there though. So I've seen a lot of change. When I first got there in 1991, the first thing was to, they would have me, I would walk in the building 2 in the morning, and there'd be maybe 20, 30, 40 dozen eggs that I would break and get the yolks and everything out of them. Nowadays, if you were caught with eggs in a bakery, you'd be facing a massive fines, maybe jail or prison time for having eggs in a bakery. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but that's the way it is nowadays. They have to be powdered eggs. It is not one world, but that's the world I've seen and the changes I've seen. Going up the alley in the middle of the night to the bakery was always an experience. In the old days, it was nothing to see ladies of the night in that alley or drug deals going down. They quickly learned that I was not going to turn them in, and I looked the other way. I wanted nothing to do with them and stayed away from them. And they did not cause me any trouble then. And throughout the years, I've seen all sorts of craziness in that alley. I went up the alley one morning and I looked off to the side, and there was a young couple. And I'd seen people getting to know each other biblically in the alley, but not under the light. That was unusual. So I took a second glance, not wanting to be a peeping Tom, but I looked and I realized what I was seeing then, because I'd missed it the first time. The young man and young woman were there, and she had some of her clothes still on, as you couldn't shove a butter knife between them. But at the same time, there was a third person, a man standing off to the side with a digital movie camera taking a film of what they were doing. Yeah, it's not one world. All sorts of experiences I've had. There was a stabbing up the street one day, and so the alley cop come up the back of the alley. There's a door, and I had it open so it wouldn't get too hot for the rolls to overproof. And old cop walked in. He said, "Get this door closed and locked." And I said, "No." Cops don't like the word no. And so he stepped in. He said, "There's been a stabbing up the street. Get this door closed and locked." And I said, "No," again. I said, "I'm not going to lose this product." And so he looked over, and he could see I had a butterfly knife on my hip, and I had knives along the working table, different things that I do to make my products. And he said, "Oh, you think you're Rambo?" And I said, "No." But I reached over and I had a 1-gallon container of still boiling hot butter. And I said, if crazy comes in here, I'll grab that and I'll throw it in his face. I wonder how much fight a guy with a knife's going to have after he takes a face full of boiling hot butter. The cop cringed, turned around, and walked out. The door stayed open. So many stories like that, including the stories that, the bakery thought that maybe I was stealing because stuff was being taken from the bakery. So they put cameras on me for a while. Yeah. And they tried all sorts of tricks to get me to break the law enforcement did, and set out things for me to steal, and I wouldn't steal them. And I've seen when it was 90 5 degrees in there trying to keep my rolls from overproofing. At the same time, I go up there in the middle of the winter in a blizzard. And even after the blizzard, which was a more dangerous time, because when the snow started melting, the alleys were just a sheet of glass. And I would slide either down or up, whichever way I would come on that side hill, and try to slide in there without falling down. And I knew if I fell, I would be laying there hurt and injured for hours and hours before anybody had come along to find me. Things like that just terrified me, but yet I went on and did the job. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands, maybe 1 million donuts in my 25 years I've made for the bakery. I missed 1.5 days of work during that 25-year period. 1.5 days, if that tells you anything. I don't take off. And like this last year, I didn't even get a day vacation. I didn't want it. I just kept working straight through. And vacation, some people think that's where you go to have fun, and I have fun though at work, whether it's at the bakery or out at the ranches that I work part-time for, or being Mr. Bill. That is my vacation, as far as I'm concerned, here on Earth. But it is hard to let go of something, but because of health issues, I have to on the bakery. But that is some of it, and I have so many stories about it. Perhaps I'll tell you more in the future. You guys have a good evening.